Lisa Duffy joins us now from South Carolina. She's the author of this book, The Catholic Guide to Dating After Divorce. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, you know, divorce is often a touchy subject, and even more sensitive is the topic of dating after divorce. What made you decide to tackle this subject?
Well, you're right, it is a very touchy subject, but I wanted to tackle it because, unfortunately, I went through it myself back in the early 1990s. I was about 30 years old. I had married for life. I was a traditional cradle Catholic, and I found myself forced into a divorce that I didn't want. And I had gone through a lot of struggles. There was very little out there to help me at that time. And so as my life progressed and I went through the annulment process, I embraced my faith to find healing and eventually remarried in the church. It's hard to be quiet about, all the blessings that God has bestowed upon me. And not only that, but I know that there are so many Catholics who go through this, an unwanted divorce, and they're largely ignored. They need help, and they need someone who knows what they've been through. So that's why I wrote the book.
You know, your book, Lisa, offers hope for the 11 million divorced Catholics in the United States, which is a fairly large number. What's the response been?
Well, so far it's been wonderful. There are always the Catholics, the very faithful Catholics who don't understand the issue. But there are many, many Catholics out there who are saying how refreshing it is for a Catholic to reach out to the divorced Catholics and really kind of show them compassion and guidance, a way to understand that divorce does not define who they are. It's not the end of their future. Quite the contrary, God has so much in store for them. And they, I believe, appreciate very much someone saying, hey, let's help you get to this next chapter of your life.
And, when you talk about compassion, contrary to what some people might think, the Church extends compassionate care to those who have been through the ordeal of separation and divorce. Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. Pope Francis said it the best. He said, we're all supposed to be workers after the battle, finding the wounded and bringing them back to the church. That's so important. And divorce is a controversial issue, but by showing compassion and reaching out to them doesn't mean that you condone divorce. Nobody should. But these people are suffering. It's a very real event that happens in their lives. And it's important that we, they're the walking wounded of our society because they have to move on. Life goes on. They have to go to their jobs. They have to raise their children. And they need our support.
Now, the guide includes, which I think is kind of neat, opportunities for journaling and quizzes and some action steps to help the reader navigate this divorce and annulment process. What are some of the specific actions that people should take?
Well, all of those things in this book kind of culminate into the very specific action of understanding that that if you go through a divorce and you just kind of jump back into the dating scene, you're very likely going to end up with much more pain and suffering than you began with. And the divorce rate for second marriages hovers somewhere around 70%. So I am trying to get people to look at slowing down and considering where they stand with the church. Is their heart really available to give away, or is it steeped in anger and resentment over what happened? So specifically, I'm trying to get them to take these steps to prepare themselves if, in fact, God does have another long-term, possibly marriage relationship in their future.
Do you see a lot of fear out there, Lisa, from people who have had a divorce and now they're going to try to start dating again? It seems like a very scary thing.
Yeah. Yes. It's pretty scary on more than one level. But I think the fear of the unknown is so scary, and that's one of the reasons why they run to another relationship. to have someone as kind of an anchor. And, you know, you can't blame anybody for that specifically, because that's what love and marriage is all about, having that person to go through the good times, the bad times with you. But it's important to prepare to make sure you're ready. Part of that is having a decree of nullity. But, you know, there could be many beautiful, wonderful marriages out there waiting to happen. So I like to help prepare them.
And I want people to know, as a parish priest, that we're always willing to speak with people and kind of give a little guidance too. And I think a lot of priests would agree with me that we understand what a very difficult situation this puts people in. And you have this great website, Lisa, lisaduffy.com. It has some very valuable tools and resources. Say people were to go to lisaduffy.com, what would they find?
Well, there are a lot of free resources, and then, you know, the books and things like that. But I want to give everyone as much support as possible. So there's a parish program there, Journey of Hope. There are my books. There are a lot of free videos, podcasts. I had a podcast with the canon lawyer that was very informative. So I really just want people find all the resources they need, and then parishes, they can go find that too.
Well, the book is The Catholic Guide to Dating After Divorce. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today and taking the time for being on This Is the Day.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Bye, Lisa.